a long one today. I can feel it. I got so much stuff to get done. So we're gonna put these down here for now. Oh. Oh, and lighter. There we go. Oh, crap. Well, shit. Guess I gotta cut another length of that. That one's got something on it. I don't know what, but I'm gonna have to cut another length of gold paracord. Man, this gold paracord has crap all over it. What the hell? There we go, that works. Where'd my scissors go? Oh, crap. Man, forgot everything this morning. The heck did I put my scissors? Good gracious. Well, I guess we're using the knife. I need to sharpen that thing. Alright, that's trash. Good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm still trying to get prepped this morning. I cut some lengths of paracord, and for some reason there's crap all over my gold paracord. I'm not sure what it is. It feels like an adhesive of some kind. This might have been a piece that came off of another piece. What's everybody up to this morning? It is early. Oh, come on. I can't find my scissors. I don't know what I did with them. Oh, I guess we're gonna cut it like this. That's not gonna work, is it? That is not gonna work. Give me one sec, guys. I'll be right back. I think I left my scissors in the other room, possibly. I don't know. What did I do with my scissors? Not sure what I did with my scissors this morning. So all I've got is the crappy ones. But luckily, I bought another set of scissors. So we're just gonna open these. Welcome to Sunday Finishing Work, everybody. I got a shit ton of stuff to get done today, so I am gonna be on probably for a while today. I can just get these stupid scissors out of here. There we go. There we go. Brand new scissors. So it goes up there for now. So I figure out what the hell I did with my other scissors. Oh, hey, Kelly. Sorry you can't sleep. I know I kind of had the same problem last night. I'm feeling pretty tired this morning. So this paracord, particularly, is for these. These are called Yawara, or Kopo Yawara, or palm sticks. They're used in karate and Japanese karate, traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, Kobudo, and a few others. You put a cord through these holes here. Your two middle fingers go through the cord and it anchors the stick to your hand, and it becomes an extension of your fist, which you can use for palm heel strikes to the temple, throat, forehead, solar plexus, things like that. Thanks, bro. I appreciate the compliment. So I've got two, and these particular ones are made of Kumru wood, which is awesome. It has one of the hardest Jenka hardnesses you can find. It will withstand, on average, about 3,500 pounds of force. And I got these two, which are Orange Osage. So we're going to cord up these Yawara. I run a shop where I make practice weapons, I make costume props. And right now, oddly enough, I'm making stuff for a craft fair. I do a craft fair twice a year where it's mostly old ladies. So I make stuff that old ladies will buy ahead of the holidays. So one other thing I'm doing is I'm stringing up a bunch of these blank Christmas cookie ornaments that I cut out, because they like to buy these and they give them to their grandkids. The grandkids decorate them for that year of Christmas, and then they've got a souvenir ornament that was made by their grandkids. So that's the kind of stuff old ladies buy around the holidays. All right, I think I've got everything. We'll get these Yawara done first. So your cord, your anchor cord, just feeds through those holes. And then I usually send a slightly long palm cord so that whoever receives it can adjust it to their hand and then cut it off and melt off the tips themselves. There you go. And now you got... I look like I love soy. That's hilarious. Oh my God. This haircut's not it? Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I honestly don't give a shit. But anyway, here's the palm cord on the Yawara. So that's funny. Yeah, I know. The haircut's weird. My daughter doesn't like it either, but I'm cool with it. It's easy to maintain. That's funny. But yeah, honestly, soy, like soy sauce, like soy shoyu, like I like that. Oh, thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it. I've tried a few different haircuts over the year. I used to do the faux hawk thing, like where just the top and it was kept short. That kind of got old. I just figured, why go faux hawk when you can go full mohawk? Oh, I didn't quite get that one balanced out right. Hang on. The Yawara is not my idea. No, the Yawara has been around for hundreds of years. It was actually invented by the Shurite bodyguards of Okinawa. There was a period in Okinawan history when the Okinawans were not allowed to carry weapons. This is where we get karate from. The Shurite bodyguards, who were the bodyguards of the Okinawan royal family before the Japanese occupation, they were also forbidden from carrying weapons, but they still had to do their job of being royal bodyguards. So they figured out, well, we can't use weapons, but what if we use other things that could be used as weapons? And so that's how we get stuff like the sickle and the Yawara. The way I heard the story told, and like I've told people this before, like I don't know how valid the story is, but I had a sensei tell me that what happened was they noticed the women in Japan had these little pillows that they would, when they would sit in the seiza position on their knees, the pillow would go between their heels and their rear, kind of as an extra cushion. And so these were originally like a little backing that went inside the cushion, so the cushion could be replaced. And they could just put it down, sit on it, and then slide their fingers out. Well, the husbands figured out that if I take the backing out of the pillow, I've got a good little fist pack. So that's where the Yawara came from. If you've ever heard of the Kubotan keychain that was created by a guy named Tak Kubota, who used to teach hand-to-hand combat to the Japanese police, he created the Kubotan keychain on the concept of the Yawara. Do I spike it just for, sometimes I do. Most of the time, I don't have time. Once in a great while, I will style this up, you know. I don't do it super high. But for the most part, I'm so busy that most of the time I get up in the morning, I put water through it, I comb it off to the side, and I'm done. Oh, would the kid me be proud of me? Oh, God, yes. Are you kidding? The kid me would think I'm cool as shit. That's pretty much all I've done in adulthood, man. Like to me, that's what adulthood is for. Adulthood is to do all the cool shit that nobody let you do as a kid. That's pretty much what this shop is. Like, this shop is the place where I get to make all the stuff that I wished someone was making when I was younger. And that's what I do. I make weird shit. I make like zombie apocalypse battle bats and cool practice weapons and cosplay play props, and I just make all the weird stuff, you guys. That's pretty much the whole theme of my shop, is just me making all the stuff I wanted to make as a kid. Also, kid me wanted to be a writer. Kid me really wanted to be an author, and I've done that. I write books for Penguin Random House. I've published 16 books now. I've published 16 books over the last 20 something years. You know, how much to shave my head? It's nothing. You don't get to shave my head. It's not for sale. Brass knuckles? Nah, I don't do brass knuckles. There's too much. Plus, that's mostly people who work with metal. I don't work with metal too much. I mostly work with wood. But it's kind of like I do nunchucks, but I only do nunchucks for custom orders. I don't make nunchucks to sell in my shop. There's just too many legal issues with it. There's just too much like legal stuff you have to navigate if you're going to do that. So I tend to stay away from that. Book writing is not a good source of income. No, it's not. No. I have like 3 jobs, okay? I used to be a marketing copywriter. I now work in home renovations during the day. That's my day job. That's where I make most of my money. My shop makes more money than my book writing does. My shop is my second job. The book writing, it's a nice little supplemental income, but it's not enough to live on. Not even close. I do it. Well, I write because I love writing, and I do get paid for it. I mean, I get paid. It's just the main thing with writing is there's just not enough work for what they pay you for one book. In order to make a living, the way as I write books for publishers, like they'll come to me and say, hey, we want a book on this topic. I'm a mythologist, so it's usually mythology related stuff. And I'll be given deadlines and stuff to write the book. And I'm given a flat fee and a royalty. The royalty depends on how many are sold. I get royalty checks a couple times a year, but it's only like, a few $100 or a few $1,000s sometimes. But for the most part, it's not a lot. But it's nice if you've got a full-time job and you write on the side. It is a good kind of side income. And if you get lucky and end up on one of the coveted, like New York Times bestseller list or something like that, then you're home free at that point. Or if Oprah reads your book or something, it kind of depends. But for the most part, it doesn't. Most writers, it's a secondary occupation. Very few writers make their complete living on writing books. Some do, but not me. For me, it's mostly a side thing, but I enjoy doing it. I don't think AI will take over storytelling. I think it will for a little bit. I think, because I'll give you an example. That's why I'm no longer a marketing copywriter. I worked for a company they had me using an AI. They basically made it a condition of my job that I had to use this AI of theirs, and I used it. And for a couple of years. And then about 2 months ago, I was laid off, and the AI was given my job. So that's why I'm no longer a marketing copywriter, because I don't really want to compete with AI. It's ridiculous. But the reason I don't think AI will take over storytelling is because AI doesn't actually tell stories. AI doesn't create anything. That's the big lie of AI. AI doesn't create stuff. What AI does, it looks at everything that's been created and it mixes it all together and creates a mosaic of all of other people's stuff. Oh yeah, I'm always happy. Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. You too. You have a good day too. Oh, it's all right, Lockjaw. To be honest, turned out to be the best thing for me. You know, when I lost my job as a marketing copywriter, oddly enough, I felt like a sense of relief. I really didn't like working in the corporate world. It's very stressful. It's very, especially in marketing, it's a very cutthroat, you know, high tempo kind of thing. And the guy that runs the shop next to mine, he had been needing somebody. He's getting older, and he was needing somebody to work alongside him. So I started working for him. And to be honest, I'm making less money, but I'm so much happier, dude. I get up at like 5:15 every morning. I come to the shop, I do some work in my shop, then I go over next door and I work in his shop all day, and it's great. But you know, I'm spending all day on my feet, which I love. I don't have to sit behind a desk. My job is much easier to figure out. Exactly. One door closes, another one opens. It really is. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't. But here's the thing with AI, though. It can't create. That's the thing. It will always be limited to what it knows from the past. And that's where my big fear is with AI, because if we become dependent on AI for art, like, use AI for other stuff. Use AI for stock trading. Use it to find cures to diseases. Use it to do stuff that actually matters. Using AI to create art or writing or stories is ridiculous. Like, we should be using AI to do all the boring shit that we don't want to do as humans, not the fun stuff that humans love to do. And I fear that if we become too dependent on AI for stuff like art and writing, that eventually it's going to become formulaic. We'll just be basically seeing variations on the same story told over and over again. Nothing new will ever come. Yeah, we'll see. But what will we do as a species? You know? Sit on our asses? Do nothing? Because if you think that AI is going to replace people and that somehow we're all going to get to live fat and happy while AI does all the work, that's not the utopia we're heading towards, you guys. Most of us will be unemployed, while the people that own the means of production will get richer, and the rest of us will get poorer. At an accelerated rate this time. Yeah, making hardware costs higher is making energy costs higher. The energy, you know, consumption of AI is insane. It's kind of like crypto. Like, I think it's ridiculous that we're basically like causing an environmental catastrophe in slow motion so that we can create a money that doesn't really exist. I find that interesting. Technically, no money really exists, but I don't feel that we need a new one. But yeah, eventually I think they'll get AI good enough to where it looks like it's creating. You know, the human mind's not too hard to fool with stuff like that. Yeah, I know the political climate. I don't want to talk about politics. Things have gotten ugly. These, by the way, these are hickory daggers. These are based on a Native American design. I can't remember. I want to say it's Apache. I can't remember. But these are hickory daggers. I make various kinds of these. I have ones that have a much more extreme taper that are more for like vampire hunter style costumes. These are the more functional design. Oh my gosh. And then after these, I gotta go. I've got a bunch of stuff behind me. I've got to buff out. It's got its second coat of tung oil. So I gotta do that after I finish these daggers. And then we'll move on to these super exciting Christmas ornaments, guys. A wooden dagger. Yeah, John. So indigenous cultures in the North America and in like Polynesian cultures, iron and metalworking wasn't quite as prevalent in those cultures, so they made secondary weapons, stabbing weapons for the most part, out of wood. The Polynesians were a little better at it, to be honest with you, than the North American natives. North American natives made most of their stuff out of hickory. It was good for probably a few stabs before it came loose, you know, because most of their knives were made of stone, and you wanted to save those for when you actually needed a bladed edge to do work. So you didn't want to use those as weapons, because the moment you smash something with a stone blade, it tends to chip. So these worked better as weapons than a stone blade, because you could just stabby. Right, exactly. Stone Age, Iron Age, Ice Age. The Polynesians, they had better wood at their disposal also. The Polynesians, they had, you know, Hawaiian rosewood. They had a lot of very dense hardwoods that they could come across. They made stuff like the Pahoa dagger, which I have a couple of those in the shop right now. Theirs was a much more functional design. It was more of almost a stiletto style stabbing implement, but not quite. It had a little more thickness to it, and the sharpness was concentrated more at the tip. It wasn't really, they didn't really have a blade on it. It was more of just a conical tip. I'll do one of those when we do show and tell at the end here. Glazing the polys. I have no idea what that means. Explain what you mean by glazing the polys. Is that code for something? I'm talking about spears? I don't understand what you're saying. But spears, yeah, spears, they would use stone spearheads. For a spearhead, it worked better, but you could also do a wood spearhead. But the stone spearheads, yeah, they definitely had those, and arrowheads. But for a melee weapon, that stone blade wasn't very durable. Now you can look at like the Mayans and Aztecs. They used like obsidian blades in a lot of their stuff, but you have to remember those blades were embedded and tied in place, because when they would take them to battle, by the end of the battle, those blades were just destroyed. So they would take those out and replace them with new obsidian blades. It was like a disposable razor. You just pop the blades off and put new ones in. Yeah, an obsidian axe will do work. It's pretty impressive, actually. I've seen some very, very functional flint-knapped obsidian axes. They definitely do the job. They're rough. They can be rough to work with until you get kind of, there's a technique to it, apparently. I've never used one, but I guess there's a technique to using those stone bladed axes. Oh my God, I'm so tired this morning. All right. Here we go. I got 2 hickory daggers. A pickaxe out of obsidian? I don't know that obsidian would work as a pickaxe. That's, I feel like the moment you tried to hit something with the pick end, it would just snap. Oh, a diamond pickaxe to bind the obsidian. Oh, okay. I always thought you were talking about like an obsidian axe. You mean like a pickaxe to mine obsidian? Yeah. That would make sense. Indeed. All right, let me put these over with the finished stuff, and then I gotta buff out this stuff back here. You guys will be able to see me. It's just right behind me. Oh, let's see. I've got a bunch of stuff that had to get tongue oiled this morning, get a second coat. I ran out of, or I should say I sold out of my, these are my European broadsword wasters. I sell most of these to SCA, Buhurt, Armor Combat, HEMA, and every now and then just regular old folks that just want a good sword they can smash against another sword. And this is my oak one. It got a second coat of tongue oil this morning. It just needs to be buffed out so there's no bubbles in it. But all of my wasters and Boken are guaranteed. If they break when you're sparring with them, I replace them at no charge, which is why my stuff is really popular with the Buhurt guys, because I'm the only vendor that guarantees my work. You buy a waster or a Boken from me and you spar with it and it snaps on you, all you have to do is send me a photo of the broken weapons and explain to me how it broke. Not for any reason like I don't trust you or anything. It's because I want to figure out why it broke, so that if it's an issue with the wood grain, you know, that just happens sometimes. I do my best to configure wood grain, but sometimes I miss something. And the other reason is that if it's a flaw in my design, I want to make sure I identify it so that I can fix it. Because I pride myself on making wasters and Boken that last a very, very long time. There are people out there that bought Boken from me back when I was doing it in college, back when I was making these in college, that still have the Boken I made for them 20-something years later. But in the 3 or 4 years that I've had the shop back open, I have only once had to replace a Boken or waster, and that one was actually the user's fault. The user was smashing his Boken against an unpadded iron or steel training dummy, and if you smash a waster against iron or against steel and it was embedded in the ground, you know, if you do that, yeah, it's gonna break. This one I'm super excited about. This is Kumaru wood. It's that same wood that I made those Uwara out of. It's got that 3,500 pound force Janka hardness. This particular Boken is getting a 10-year warranty. I would make it a lifetime warranty, but I don't know if my shop will be around after that long, you know, so. But this one, this Boken should never, ever break. This one is made out of one of the hardest woods known to man. It is harder than black walnut. With a 3,500 Janka hardness average, it ranges between 3,200 and 3,700. And it is good stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got this other Uwara. We're going to have to cord this one up too. Let's see. And then this is a Tassi War Club. I think it's Comanche, I believe, is the tribe that made these. I've got a custom order that I've got to do in the near future for a client that wants one of these. He wants his to be a little shorter than this. But anytime I get a custom order for something I've never made before, I try to make one for the shop first so that I can make any mistakes that are going to be made. I make it on the proof of concept. Didn't have any mistakes come up this time. It came out pretty much exactly the way I wanted it to. This was a War Club style used by the Comanche, I believe. It's called Natasi. This is American hickory. It's about 3/4 inch thick in the middle, 1/2 inch thick at the striking side, so it tapers in, so you have a better striking surface. A 1/2 inch puts more force into a smaller area, which for a club is great for cracking skulls. And then these aren't super exciting, but I made some charcuterie boards. I got a craft fair next week, so sometimes you got to make the unexciting stuff to make extra money for the shop so you can keep making the fun stuff. So, and the little old ladies at this craft fair are not interested in daggers and bokken and Yawara and all that stuff. So I make charcuterie boards and coasters and Christmas ornaments. And I made these little sausage or salami cutting boards that have like a little indent in the center for putting the salami in when you cut the salami. And no, that's not meant to be a sexual innuendo. I actually mean cutting salami. Please don't put your penis in the cutting board. The hell? I'll have to fix that later. There's a little piece of cloth that somehow got stuck in my tongue oil. And now it's embedded in there. I'm going to have to sand it out and give it a little touch up in that spot. All right, let's do this one. Give me one sec. Be right back. I forgot something. I got to measure out the palm cord for this Yawara. This particular Yawara, let me see. Hey, what's up, Jacobe? This particular Yawara, this is my shop. This one I did invent. This is my shop's design. It has a taper in the center. It's shorter in the center and wider on the outside. So that way when you squeeze it, it pushes it into your palm. And gives you a much firmer grip. I mean, because the anchor cord will keep it in your hand, but it still has a tendency to shift with the traditional design. So I created a design that got rid of that issue. And this one's 8 inches long because that taper design doesn't work great for the 6 inch. So I do the 8 inch for the tapered ones. There we go. But the palm taper just makes it a lot more secure in your hand. How did we get on this topic of mining obsidian? I feel like I know more about mining obsidian now than I knew before I started this live. I've learned so much this morning about mining obsidian. And there we go. So I know it looks long on the bottom, but that's so that when the person gets it, some people have big hands, some have little hands, they can adjust this to their fingers, and then you can cut this off and melt off the tip like you just saw me do, and you're good to go. But this has a much firmer grip. It doesn't slip at all because it has that palm taper. You can Get this stuff out of the way. All right, guys. Bear with me. I'm sorry, but it's time for me to do something kind of boring a little bit. You're welcome to hang out, though. I gotta string up all these little blank Christmas ornaments. I take this is actually mango wood. We got hit by a hurricane last summer. We had Helene and then we had Milton, and I have a mango tree next to the house, and some of the branches on the mango tree came down, so they were fairly thick. So took my miter saw and cut some cookies out of them, and now I drilled holes. Don't tell anybody I do that. And I just put a piece of string in it. These are I just sell these for like $1 each, or you can get like 6 for $5 or something like that. I sell them for pretty cheap. Doesn't take me long to make them. But oddly enough, this tends to be at craft fairs. This here tends to be one of my best sellers because it's all old people in my neighborhood. They all have grandkids who visit during the holidays, and so they can have the grandkids decorate these ornaments and put their name and year on it, and then they've got a little kind of like a souvenir, or not souvenir, but like a commemorative tree ornament that, you know, reminds them of a year with their grandkids. I am double dipping. I'm rocking. Oh, am I double dipping? No, it's not a comb over. I'm not bald or anything. I'm just I just have a mohawk that I don't spike up. That's all. I'm just lazy, really. It's the main reason. I'm just lazy, dude. I just don't really do anything to it. I get up, I put water in it, I comb it to the side because I don't have time to really style it. I wake up at about 5:15 in the morning every day, including weekends. I work 3 jobs, so I don't really have a lot of time to worry about my hair, so I tend to just keep it as simple as possible. And the mohawk got started, to be honest with you, my son and we had been playing chicken with each other for the longest time about getting mohawks, right? And so finally, like one year, I think it was around Christmas. I usually go in the summer and Christmas to hang out with my son in Texas, and so yeah, I think it was Christmas. He's like, this is the year, Dad. We're gonna get mohawks. We're gonna get mohawks, Dad. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be awesome because we've been playing chicken about both of us getting mohawks together. So I book us an appointment at a barbershop for us both to get our mohawks. And I'm like, you know, you want to go first? Or you want Dad to go first? Of course, he wants Dad to go first. So I go in. They do my mohawk, and then I go into the lobby, and my son stands up, and I was like, all right, buddy, your turn. And he's like, Dad, I think I changed my mind. So he didn't get a mohawk that day. He just got a regular haircut, and I ended up with a mohawk. And oddly enough, it seemed like people around me seemed to like it. Everyone always commented on it. It's, you know, it's a little different. And so that's how I ended up with a mohawk, basically. I like it, though. After I got it, I realized that I kind of liked it. It's easy to maintain. For the most part, getting a haircut with it's not hard. I just, you know, anyone who can use a pair of clippers pretty much can give me a haircut. Slide my hand across this a few times, like that. And no, I've got hair. It's just shaved, but yeah, it's not a comb over, but you know, my hairline's definitely back a bit. You know, I'm 48, man. Come on, like yeah, I got a little bit of a widow's peak here on both sides, but no, I'm never gonna do the comb over thing. I have a deal that, you know, I'm basically gonna do the Bruce Willis thing. Like if I ever realize that like I'm going bald, I'm just gonna cut it short and leave it that way. I'm not interested in looking like I got a comb over. Nothing fun about that. Nobody wants like that's the thing with like comb overs and hair pieces, is I feel like the only people who you're fooling with a comb over or a hair piece is yourself. Hey, Randy, I appreciate it, man, but you know, go somewhere else with the religion stuff. Nothing against religion, but I'm good. Oh, you don't need to be converting people on YouTube. Oh my good gracious. Oh good gracious. We're gonna get a sermon, everybody. Oh. But yeah, these Christmas ornaments, they're very boring to make, but they do all right. Luckily, they don't take long to make. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Randy there, but he like, I'm gonna go into a live stream where a guy's making weapons and Christmas ornaments, and that's gonna be my platform. that's the platform. That's where I'm gonna save some souls. Is on this guy's live stream. I'm not sure what his decision-making paradigm was for that choice, but, you know, it was a choice. Oh, come on. Get in there, you little bastard. There we go. Don't worry, guys. We only have like 7... We only have 8 more of these to get through. And then I've got, after this, I've got some Nightwing sticks that I've got to cord up. And then after that, I'm going to be, got it wrapped up in here. I'm going to be doing the handle wrap on these prop Sai. These are rubber Sai. These are going to be Raphael Ninja Turtle replica Sai. I got to wrap the prongs and a handle. These are actually going to go up for auction instead of at regular price. This is the last set of blanks that I had for these Sai. And unfortunately, I had some issues come up when we did the injection mold. It's got a little flaw on the tip there. And for some reason, both of the Sai are just kind of, they have like a warp. It's not a horrible warp, but it's a warp. And I've done everything I can to get it out, and it just keeps coming back. So I don't sell stuff that's not up to snuff for full price. So that's probably going to go up for auction on eBay. There's the last one. There we go. What kind of weapons? I make all kinds of weapons. I make mostly practice weapons, but I also make some real ones. Mostly stuff that's wood. Like Yawara, I make a lot of different styles of palm sticks and Yawara. I make, I make old school indigenous wooden daggers. I make assassin stilettos out of Kumru wood. I make zombie apocalypse custom battle bats. Which, by the way, if you guys ever want to see what I do in my shop, the link to my eBay shop should be in my bio in the link tree. You'll also see a link for warriorwoodandprops.com. Don't go there. That's a Shopify shop that I started last year. And I had to take a month off. I take a month off usually in the summers to go hang out with my son and my family in Texas. And the shop was closed for that month. And when I came back, I could not activate the shop. I was somehow locked out of it. And I can't get Shopify to help me. So yeah, I can't get Shopify to really do anything about it. They don't really have they don't have like a human support group. All they have are bots, and the bots don't seem to be any help at all. I can't even figure out how to cancel it, which I would like to do because I'm paying every month for a shop that's worthless. But Shopify is fine until you have a problem. Once you have a problem, they don't really want anything to do with you. So if you're looking for a platform to sell on, highly recommend not using Shopify. Unless you're just going to roll the dice and hope you never have any problems. Because if you have a problem, they have no intention of helping you solve it. Everybody's all in my hair this morning. Right now, I am making, these are just blank Christmas ornaments. I've got a craft fair next week, next Friday and Saturday. I've got a craft fair. So these are just blank Christmas ornaments. That's not what I usually make. I usually make weapons and props. But once a year or twice a year, I do a craft fair in my community that my community hosts. But my community, I'm like the youngest adult guy in my community. Most of the people in my community are 65 and older. So, and in my community, I am known as the Mohawk. I'm actually known as the Mohawk chainsaw guy in my community because anytime there's a hurricane, since I'm pretty much the only able-bodied guy in my community with a chainsaw and an axe, when the hurricanes come, the next morning, the first thing I do is grab my chainsaw and my axe and go door to door and help my neighbors get out of their houses if they're trapped inside. I help clear the roads to the exits so the work trucks can get in. So that's how most people in my community know me. They know me through either the craft fair or watching me cut trees up after hurricanes with my chainsaw. Yeah, I mean, like, for mine... Oh, thanks, John. I appreciate that. I know that I feel like my hair tends to be like a hit and miss. People either love it or hate it, which is fine. I'm cool with it. I'm too old to care. All I need is a cape. No. It helps me too, though, because a lot of times I can harvest wood. A lot of the people in my neighborhood have some really nice trees. So, you know, there's a lot of oak in my neighborhood and stuff. So I also get to, you know, it benefits me as well. But that's not the sole reason I do it. I mostly do it because people in my community for a long time, they were kind of afraid of me. I mean, I look weird. My community is it's like a country club kind of community. And so I stick out a little, you know, Mohawk tattoos. I kind of stick out. I don't really look the part of somebody who lives in my community. When I first moved there for like the first couple of years, I got the cops call on me all the time. I have insomnia a lot. And so a lot of times if I'm having trouble sleeping, I'll go take a walk, or I used to anyway. I don't do it much anymore. My insomnia is pretty much under control these days. But back then, if I couldn't sleep, I'd go for a walk. Somebody see me walking down the street and they'd call the cops because they thought there was a suspicious person prowling the neighborhood. And I lived there, but I had to learn to always bring my keys and my ID when I'd go on a walk, because I didn't do that the first time that happened. And I had to take the cop back to the house. I had to go inside, get my keys, my ID, show him my ID. I had to show him that my key worked in the door because he did not believe that I lived there. Yeah, you know, dreads though, dreads aren't necessarily a cultural thing. Like, you know, there were plenty of European cultures that had dreads. So, but yeah, definitely you don't see it as much on us pale skinned fellas or ladies. But dreadlocks, I don't think most people know the kind of commitment that goes into dreadlocks. Like, you got to commit to that hairstyle. Like that's, like when you create dreadlocks, you are committing, because there's no combing that out once it's done. All right. Let me put these ornaments away. And then I gotta find my tape measure. I don't know what the hell I did with it. I swear I can't find anything this morning. All right, be right back. Let me go put these over here. see, I don't know if I marked those off or not. Oh. Did I mark these off? I did not. These are my Nightwing Eskrima sticks. They're made of painted rattan. I gotta cord up the ends with some electric blue paracord. But to do that, I am going to need to mark these off with my tape measure. So let me go find my tape measure. Be right back. And the pencil. Got it. Oh yeah, no, I know. That's actually what I was using just then wasn't paracord. That was jute cord. It's a natural cotton fiber or natural organic fiber. You know, it's not that unhygienic. But it's really hard to get these. They tend to fray at the tip really easily. So I have a tendency to do that just to keep them from fraying when I put them through the hole. No, I would rather not do that. And I'm sorry if it's gross, but it's the easiest way. It's the only, I've tried so many other ways of doing it. Nothing else seems to work. That's funny, Sideshow. So it just kind of happened, huh? That's awesome. Really curly hair. Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's why I have a beard, is because I'm lazy. Like, that's literally, people think I have the beard because I'm trying to look cool, but no, I have a beard because I'm too lazy to shave every day. Like, all I shave is like my cheeks and my neck, and that's easy. And I only do that like once or twice a week. And then I just take some clippers to my beard, probably like once a month. I am very lazy when it comes to hair stuff and facial hair stuff. I was in the military, in the Marine Corps for like 5 years. I had to shave every single day and I friggin' hated it. So sorry I'm being quiet. Just gotta do this real quick. I gotta mark these off so I know where the paracord starts and stops. I'm gonna take these off. I never thought a day would come when I had to take my glasses off to see better, but here we are. I had to get bifocals, God, probably about 5 years ago. I started getting bifocals, and lately the bifocals are starting to fail on me. Or I have to turn my head all the way up to look down through the bifocals, which is just annoying. So I've learned to just stick with my bare eyes when it's up close. But when I look down my bifocals, like seriously, it's not a good look because I look like someone's grandpa, like trying to look down my glasses. Which, I'm 48, I'm not a grandpa yet, but I feel that those days are coming, you guys. My daughter is getting married in January. I thought I had more time, but she's getting married in January. And, you know, I feel like kids are going to happen. then I'm going to have to make the decision that I think haunts us all. I'm going to have to decide what my grandkids are going to be calling me. Because I feel like I don't know, like, do I want to be like a pop? Do I want to be a granddad? You know, do I want to be granddaddy? Yeah, right. Keep the mouth open. It always looks better when you have your mouth open. You got married in May. Congratulations. Yeah, you gotta you gotta do that. Yeah, that's gonna be a great look. Yeah, that should. Thanks for the advice, man. You're really gonna help me look better. I appreciate it. Yeah, that way everyone immediately ignores what you're doing because all they can do is see is up your nose. You know, that's all anybody can think about once you've taken that posture. All right. People have asked why I don't like lay these down when I do this, so to make sure that the line is even. It's because I don't care. The line doesn't need to be even. It just needs to be rough enough that I know where it starts and stops. All right. Nice hat. Yeah, thanks, man. It doesn't come off. All right. Let me get my adhesive, because on these I use adhesive because the paracord on these is on the striking end. It's used as a grip. It's also used as a striking end. So yeah, it needs to be able to stay in place. It's still a friction fit, but the adhesive helps it stay tight the whole way down so that I get the best possible friction fit. And now I've got to bring over this huge hunk and roll of paracord for this one. I'm going to have to move these aside over here for right now. Get them out of the way. Oh, there are my scissors. You guys, I found my scissors. I couldn't find my scissors earlier. Here they are. I left them sitting on top of the paracord. Of course I did. All right, so I can put these new ones away. I don't want to mess those up. And now I got, this is my blue paracord. It is, I came to realize it was easier, or cheaper, I should say, to buy a lot of this stuff than to buy it a little bit at a time. So I bought 1,000 feet. Oh, thanks, Sideshow. I appreciate the subscription, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you gotta go, I appreciate it. I'm on every Saturday afternoon and every Sunday morning. Saturdays I do all my staining, and then Sundays I do all my finishing work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so you need a little more. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There we go. I just have to get the kinks out of it. We don't kink shame here except for 550 cord. With paracord, we don't want kinks. Everything else can have kinks, just not the paracord. No kinks for you, paracord. Get back in the closet. Don't make me get the hose. Oof. All right. It's the only problem with these big old spools is when you go to take it off, it tends to get all kinked up. There we go. All right. Well, no, glasses were a bad idea. Hey, John, welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. We're about to cord up the ends of these Nightwing sticks. And then I think I've got some, oh yeah, I've also got some sai that I have to do, and I've made a prop kukri knife out of PVC. It's basically a proof of concept test. I make props for a lot of Ninja Turtle cosplayers, guys that do like the original 1990 or 89, I can't remember. Whichever one, the one from the late 80s, early 90s, live action that Jim Henson did the costumes for. I make props for a lot of those guys. And I've done Michelangelo nunchucks, I've done Raphael sai, I've done Donatello stabs, but I have not yet done the Leonardo katana. So I've been trying to find a good material to make those out of, and I've got this PVC, this sheet PVC that I'm trying. So I started off by making a kukri out of it to see if that would work. A what stick? Palm stick? Is that what I said? This? As a palm stick. You use it as an extension of your fist. I'm not sure if that's what I said or not. I said a lot of things there. So I make a lot of different kinds of palm sticks. These are Orange Osage palm sticks. These are more traditional pocket Yawara size. And I got these Kumaro ones, which are my top end ones that are very, very sturdy. Oh my God, TMNT 3 was so bad. The live action, both of the sequels, to be honest, it kills me that like they made that awesome original movie that really felt it, you know, there were stakes in it, people's lives were at stake. You know, it was serious enough to be just a little scary for kids, but not so scary that kids couldn't handle it. It was perfectly balanced. I love that movie so much. And then all the pearl clutching parents groups got involved in the sequel. They made them take their weapons away where they didn't use their weapons. They had to use props, and it had to be more comedic, the fighting sequences. And yeah, it just sucked all the awesome out of it. Oh yeah, the first was amazing. And then the second one was just too campy. I mean, you had Ernie Reyes Jr. in it at least. He was awesome in it. But you know, and there was the mutagen thing. By the third one felt like it was made for television. Like it did not feel like a feature film. That third one was just a cash grab. They used cheaper costumes, cheaper production. They used non-union actors. They just tried to make a Ninja Turtle movie for as cheap as they could. And oh, I forgot to put adhesive on. That would probably be the reason why it's not staying tight. All right, there we go. You guys are distracting me. I'm just kidding. I love you. Please don't leave me. All right. Oh, I forgot to clean the tip. That's not good. All right, there we go. All right, come on, you cooperate with me. There we go. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, shit. All right, hold still. Oh, God damn it. All right, hold up. Houston, we have a problem. Come on, get around. Man, normally do not have this much trouble with this. There we go. It's what happens when you don't use the adhesive right off the bat. There we go. Now we're good. Gotta remember to stick to the process. But yeah, Ninja Turtles is funny because like the Ninja Turtles have been around since I was a kid. And, you know, I'm 48. And what I love about the Ninja Turtles is it's one of the few franchises where, you know, it gets rebooted about once every decade. It seems like it gets rebooted. The cartoon does anyway. And I liked the most recent reboot. I'm not a huge fan of, but I think it's just maybe a generational thing. You know, I remember them as, you know, I think the Nickelodeon one was pretty cool that they did in the early 2000s. This most recent one, I'm not sure. The recent live action one that they did, it was all right. Like, I didn't hate it. I think it gets shit on more than it deserves, but did I love it? Nah, it was all right. But yeah, this main group of guys that I do the Ninja Turtle props for, I feel bad because like I've outfitted the entire crew, and their Leonardo guy's been waiting on me for like ever to figure out how to get these katana made. Because what I use for my examples, or for my models, for the prop for the con-safe stuff that I make for them, because they all have non-con-safe stuff, but obviously you can't get into a con with live blade swords. So I make them based on the cartoon, the original cartoon versions. So that way it's still true to the franchise, and it's easy to tell that it is a prop. It still looks real to a degree, but it just looks, you know, you can tell that it's modeled after the cartoon. So you're less likely to have security jump down your back. About it. But I've made nunchucks out of all plastic and foam. I've made rubber sai. The funny thing is the bow staff, the Donatello bow staffs that I make are actually made of wood, but for some reason the cons don't seem to have an issue with that. The guy that Dave Lozano was the first guy. He does some awesome cosplay. If you ever want to go check him out, Dave Lozano, he is awesome. He does Donatello, he does Deadpool, he does the Grinch. He has a lot of different characters that he does. He does Spider-Man now, I think. He does Tony Stark and Iron Man. He's got a lot of cool stuff, but his Donatello has, you know, the back strap for his staff. So I have three different Donatello staff styles that I sell in my shop. One is the regular standard. That one fits the holder for those costumes. The other one's the deluxe. It's a little bigger and thicker and a little more practical. It could actually be used to do martial arts. The other one probably could too. It's still a hardwood. It's hard maple, but the standard one's mostly for cosplay purposes. And then I have a child-sized one that's like a 4-foot long version that I do, mostly because that one, you know, that's mostly for kids. So I just make those out of broomstick blanks. It's, you know, it doesn't need to be combat ready for a kid's costume. That's awesome, Sive Show. Like, dude, I totally feel you, man. I've been on the sober end for about 8 years. I drank like a fish until I was about 40. But yeah, I've been for the most part sober, aside from the occasional drink, since March of 2018. But yeah, it's really easy to make a mess of things, but there's always time to get back on it. Nice broomstick blanks are hickory. That's not what I use for the child ones, because, you know, like, I try to keep costs down, because I realize for most parents, if they're gonna buy like a real wood prop for their kid's Halloween costume or something, they don't really want to spend a lot of money. Like, they're willing to spend a little extra because it's gonna be nice, but you know, they don't want to spend what they would spend on like an actual functional staff. All right. Remember the adhesive this time. There we go. Oh, I have got to start remembering to clean the tips of these bottles before I put them away. Yeah, you know, alcohol's fun until it isn't. Actually, you'd be surprised. Most of it, honestly, most of the child size ones that I sell, oddly enough, it seems to be New York and California seem to be most of my customers. I feel like it's, you know, people in the LA, Southern California area, and people in different boroughs of New York. I tend to sell most of my Donatello children's stabs into those states. The poor parents that are my friends. Wisconsin, huh? I hear it's pretty out there. One of these days, I don't want to die in Florida. I feel like I want to move to like Wisconsin or Montana or Colorado, maybe New Mexico, maybe Utah. I don't know. I just want to get away from people at some point when I retire. But I think a good retirement to me sounds like having no obligation to be around people at all. I know it's cold, but see, when it's cold, I have a reason to stay inside and not interact with people. Oh, Tampa, hey, I'm actually not far from you, John. I'm down in Inglewood, just south of Venice. Probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours from you. Oh, I am. I'm actually pretty used to the cold. Like I said, I'm a former Marine. I've done Arctic warfare training. I've been in sub-zero temperatures at, you know, ridiculous altitudes on Mount Fuji. I also have friends and family in Illinois. I go up there quite often where it gets at like 16 below zero at some points. But, you know, it definitely, oh, why did I just do that? I just screwed up, you guys. God damn it. All right, let's see if I can save this. I don't think I can. No, I can. Okay, we're good. I cut that way too soon, you guys. I'm too tired to be doing this. All right. That is just barely long enough. Oh, my God. All right. It's on. We're good. Oh, my goodness. I was not looking forward to having to do that again. You guys, why didn't you guys stop me? What's wrong with you? Yeah, I know. Here in Florida, it's crazy. Like if it drops below 70 here in Florida, you see people walking around in like puffy jackets and stuff. I'm like, it's 69 degrees. You're walking around in a winter coat. Here in Florida, I do my best not to put a jacket on unless I absolutely have to. Might have to tomorrow. Tomorrow is supposed to get down to like the 40s, which, you know, that's like Arctic cold here for Florida. That's insanely cold for Florida. It almost never gets down to the 40s. I feel like if it ever snows here in Florida, we are going to have like a real life Walking Dead situation. Like people are just going to lose their shit. Like they're going to start stealing food, hoarding gas. They're going to start euthanizing the elderly. Like It's going to be, and euthanizing the elderly in Florida, that's going to take a long time. There's a lot of them here. The most important piece of information I took away from the Marine Corps, I mean, outside of the training that I got, to be honest, the thing that I found was most valuable to me from my time in the Marine Corps was understanding really what our country is, I guess, and it's not necessarily a good thing always. You know, I was an infantryman. I was 0351 anti-tank assault and demolitions. My job was rocket launchers, explosives, that kind of stuff. And you know, I grew up like most people in America, thinking that, like, you know, everybody loves America, right? We're the heroes of the world, and you know, we're not really always seen that way, and we don't always behave that way either. I'm not trying to crap on my country or anything, but you know, our government doesn't, in my opinion, does not always make the best choices from an ethical or moral point of view. And I would say that's what's most basically, I learned not to not necessarily to distrust the government, but to temper my trust of the government with a healthy level of skepticism. Does that answer your question there, Sideshow? That's really the nicest way I can put that. I just basically learned that we're really more seen as the bullies of the globe than as the people who come in and save everybody. How much snow did you get there, Sideshow? You guys snowed in or just got a nice little flurry? To be honest, I kind of miss snow. I used to live in Texas, and Texas they don't get it very often, but every now and then they get snow. And it's great when it snows in Texas because it's not really an annual regular thing in Texas. When it snows in Texas, they shut the state down, you guys. They shut it all down. Like, no one's going to school, no one's going to work, the roads are closed. I remember I was living in Arlington. The Super Bowl was happening that year. I was in grad school at the time in Arlington, Texas, at UTA, and they had a snowstorm the year that the Super Bowl was happening in Arlington. And I shit you guys not, this is everything you ever need to know about the state of Texas. So the city of Arlington bought a fleet of salt trucks. Like, they didn't have salt trucks, they bought them. They then had all the salt trucks go to the airport and salt all the roads from the airport to the hotels where the players from the Super Bowl were staying. And then they salted all the roads from the hotel where the players were staying to the stadium. And then all the hotels around the stadium, they salted the roads for those. And then they went and salted everybody else's stuff. It's like, we have to make sure the Super Bowl doesn't get delayed. Like, that was the more important thing. Just a flurry. Well, that's good. But yeah, Sideshow, unfortunately, that seems to be the state of things for a while. Oh yeah, El Paso. Lived in Dallas for a few years. Yeah, I mostly lived in the Richardson, Garland, Plano area of DFW. I went to high school there in Richardson. Well, most of high school. My first couple of years of high school, I was actually at a nice little facility called the New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell, New Mexico. I was a bit of a hellraiser in my teenage years, and I may or may not have stacked up a little bit of a juvenile criminal record. And to the point that eventually my parents were like, you know what, screw it, let's stick this kid in military school, let them fix him. So they did. Military school was pretty nice, though. It's not nearly as bad as people think it is. You know, it's a military school. You have to do military stuff, but you know, the great thing about doing a year in military school, my sophomore year of high school, I did that year, and the next year I was going to go back, but we had some issues in the family. My grandmother got sick, and so I didn't want to be out of state at school, so my parents let me come back and go to regular public school. And the great thing for me was my junior and senior year of public school, we basically went over all the topics that I had already gone over my sophomore year of military school. So I just breezed through my junior and senior year of high school. Roswell, yeah, that's where it's funny. I had my biology teacher was this guy, Colonel Lovelace, really nice guy, was my biology teacher at military school, and he was absolutely alien obsessed. This guy, he spent most of his weekends at the Roswell Alien Museum or Area 51 Museum. He absolutely was obsessed with it. He had this group that they would go hang out with like telescopes, like up on this cliff overlooking Area 51, just outside of the like no entry zone. And they'd watch the skies for alien UFOs and stuff. He was a cool guy. Like, he was weird as shit, but I absolutely love that dude. Colonel Lovelace, man, he was fun. And I hated biology, but I actually really enjoyed his class because he was such a goof. I absolutely love that dude. I imagine he's no longer on this earth. He was pretty old back then. But all the teachers, honestly, at that school when I went there were just phenomenal. I think I only ever had one teacher I didn't like. Sadly, it was one of my history teachers, but because here's my thing with history. I don't know how it is that most history teachers manage to find a way to make history boring. History should be one of our most interesting subjects because all you really need to do is explain the context of an event to make an event interesting. That's all you need to do. But most of the time, they just tell you what an event was. They tell you the year and the date, and that's all they really want you to know. They just want you to regurgitate dates and events on your test, and that's the boring part of history, man. It's the subtext and the context. That's where you get the awesome parts of history. Like, what was the meaning of things? What was the impact of things? What was the true reason that a decision was made or that an action was taken, and the effects of that action? Those are the things that make history interesting. And there's a lot of history teachers out there that for some reason they just can't seem to get a handle on that. I will never understand it. Oh yeah, it's always fun. Like that to me also, that's the thing with any teaching. If like you're super into the thing you're teaching, the people learning from you, whether they're kids or adults, are going to be super into the thing that you're teaching. It's like enthusiasm is infectious, and people can tell when enthusiasm is real and when it's kind of fake. And I love when I have a teacher who you can tell like they just live, they eat, sleep, and breathe the topic that they're teaching you. Because those kinds of teachers are usually the ones that offer that cool context that makes stuff interesting. But I have a master's degree in English with a focus in world mythology and demonology. And by demonology, I mean like the study of the mythology of demons. By the way, not like an exorcist thing. Although I have worked with a few in the past on demon stuff, but I wrote my master's thesis on Lilith, the figure of Lilith and her kind of movement over thousands of years from being an ancient goddess to being a demon in Judeo-Christian lore. But I find that being enthusiastic really helps. Did I work with the Warrens? No, I never worked with the Warrens, but I have met, I did meet Lorraine Warren several times. Absolutely wonderful lady. There was a period of my career where, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a show on A&E called Paranormal State that had this group called the Paranormal Research Society. It was run by a guy named Ryan Buell. I used to run with them a little bit. I was never on the show, but they would do like fan events. They called they called them I can't remember what, field trips, and so they would usually have me come and be a speaker at their field trips. I did a few of them, and I got to meet Lorraine Warren a couple times at those. Absolutely adorable. She is a tiny little old lady, you know. And what I love is that, like, so I wrote a book on werewolves for Alpha Books, which is a printing house of Penguin Random House. I wrote The Complete Idiot's Guide to Werewolves, and there were several cases that she was involved in that I included in that book. And I had just finished writing that werewolf book, and she had just finished kind of giving her lecture, and so people were talking to her, and I was standing behind her waiting for her to finish so that I could introduce myself. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I would really love to ask her about this one particular werewolf case that she was involved in. And I shit you guys not, this woman finishes talking to the people in front of her, turns around, looks me dead in the eyes, and goes, "You want to talk to me about werewolves?" And she shakes my hand, and I'm like, "Yes, I do want to talk to you about werewolves. That is insane." And now, given I don't know that it was a psychic thing, she may have just known that I wrote that book, and that I did. She maybe read the book and saw that I quoted her case in the book. That may have been how she knew. But I just thought it was so funny because it was such a crazy thing that she turns around and says exactly the thing that I'm sitting there thinking as I'm waiting for her to notice me. But I got to have dinner with her, with the group, and absolutely just wonderful energy off that lady. She's absolutely just, she's kindness incarnate. Really, really loved her. Unfortunately, she passed not too long ago. But what an awesome lady. Yeah, it was crazy. Cause like, it's like I was really nervous in that moment, you know, because like Lorraine Warren is in paranormal circles, she was considered, pioneer of that stuff. And I had read the case, details of a lot of the cases that she had done. When I was a kid, I was really into weird shit like vampires and ghosts and demons and all that kind of stuff. So I had admired her and Ed since I was a kid, since I was a teenager. And so it's like meeting one of your childhood heroes when I met her. And for her to turn around and immediately grab my hand and be like, "You want to talk to me about werewolves?" I was like, "Holy shit, yes I do, Lorraine. I want to talk to you about werewolves." And we did. We talked about werewolves, and she sat next to me during dinner, and absolutely just, I was worried she was going to be, it was going to be a disappointment. They always say never meet your heroes. And I was worried that meeting Lorraine Warren was going to sully my opinion or my memory of her and who she is. It did not. It only enhanced it. Meeting her was an absolute joy. She was a wonderful lady. She is absolutely the queen. She's awesome. And I think the world's poorer for her not being in it. And the one thing I really admired about Lorraine, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but like Lorraine was a Christian, and she's probably one of the few Christians that I've met who actually, it was very important to her that she lived her life in the most Christian way possible. And when I say that, I don't mean that in like a holier than thou, righteous, self-righteous way. What I mean is, to her, it was important to live in a way where she helps people and she shows forgiveness and kindness and love to everyone. Like that was what mattered most to Lorraine, because to her it seemed like that was what Christianity was supposed to be. And I loved that about her, because I think a lot of people that practice Christianity, they focus so much on whether or not other people should be allowed to do the things that you agree with or don't agree with. And that is not, that's not really Christianity. Christianity is very simple. I'm not necessarily what one would consider a Christian, but I loved that she was, and I loved her view of it. And I think that her view is very similar to like what Mr. Rogers kind of was like when it came to Christianity, and crap, I just tanked this, didn't I? All right, hang on. Hopefully, was that enough? I don't think that was enough. All right. Well, of course there is. There is always the other side. I'm not an atheist. I just don't have a religion. So that's a whole other can of worms. I'm a mythologist. It's really hard. When you're a mythologist and you learn where all the different religions come from and how they all got started and different things like that, it's very difficult to choose one because you realize they all are basically kind of the same. There's the stuff that's actually important, I feel like, in most religions is the stuff that overlaps. And the stuff that overlaps is usually pretty simple. And I know this is going to sound weird and it's going to sound crude and maybe slightly simplistic, but the main tenet of most religions is just don't be a dick. You know, that's that simple. Of course, in general, yeah. You know, I think there are forces of good and evil in the world, and both physical and non-physical, but I don't know that subscribing to any particular religion is of any value to me. You know, I think other people, a lot of times I've noticed, I think it just comes down to how do I get the big prize at the end, you know, when it comes to religion. Got to make sure I choose the right one so I go to heaven and not hell. And I feel like that's completely missing the point. Do we just become best friends? Yep. But yeah, it becomes about the big prize at the end. You know, how do I go to the good place? And that's not really what religion should be at all, in any religion. Religion should be a journey. And unfortunately, most people treat it like, quick, tell me what to do. I don't want to seek anything. I just want you to tell me what I have to do to get to the good place. And that is, in my opinion, completely missing the point. There we go. Now I got a cute little bow on there. But yeah, that's let me find my glasses here. So the Nightwing sticks are done. These are already in stock. I've been selling these a lot lately, so I made another set. You gotta give them a little impact test, make sure the 550 cord doesn't shift. And we are good. Right and tight. All right. Whew. Okay, you guys, I gotta move some stuff out of the way here. Because this next part's gonna need some space. Weak. All right, put these away. Over here. All right. Okay. How long have I been on here? Oh, an hour and a half. All right. Oh yeah, I'll be right back. Let me go check. I gotta go check something real quick. Let me put this up first. I've got this prop kukri knife that I'm working on in the other room. I just gotta check it, see if the paint is dry. Oh yeah, I need to melt that off. All right, hang on one sec. Let me go take a look at this. It is dry. Or, yep, it's dry. So this is a prop. It's plastic. It's just a proof of concept for for making a plastic set of Leonardo katana. But I wanted to, if I can do a kukri, then a katana shouldn't be a big stretch. Yeah, I don't know that most Christians truly even really know what their Bible says. You know, and also my other issue, well, my main issue that I have with a lot of very evangelical Christians is they love to quote that Bible out of context. You know, a lot of times they'll quote something that sounds like it agrees with what they're saying without offering any context of what the quote they're using from the Bible was said in. And a lot of times they act like this, just because something's in the Bible that God said it, and that's not true. You can grab just about any quote to support just about any argument from the Bible somewhere. But if you don't quote the context, you know. Oh, right. I'm grabbing the wrong stuff. Man, I'm all over the place this morning. But anyway, yeah, I'm not trying to crap on people who are Christian, though. You know, I have nothing against it. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like they don't really understand it. They think they do. Which is, in my opinion, probably the most dangerous part about it. But it's okay. I know people get scared. You know, I think that's why you see a lot of people as they get older, you know, people that were not religious tend to get more religious the older they get. And it's because they're you know, they're reaching the finish line and they're trying to figure out how to get to the good place. And they don't want to have to look for it, so they go to the church. Or a church, anyway, and hoping to be told how do they get to the good place. Where did I get this shirt? Okay, for the funny story, I do not remember where this shirt came from. I recently switched out my laptop bag, and this shirt was in my bag, and I have no idea where I got it. I don't know. I got it somewhere, obviously, but I have no idea where it came from. I found it in my bag when I was switching my bags out. I must have bought it somewhere. If I had to venture a guess, I would guess that I probably bought this at a convention, like at a Comic-Con or something while I was there, and then shoved it in my bag so that I wouldn't lose it. And then I have ADHD. I think that part's pretty obvious. And I think I just forgot that it existed because I put it in my bag and it was not where I could see it. And so as soon as something is not where I can see it, it kind of ceases to exist. And who knows how long it was in that bag, but it's a cool shirt though. I love it. Like I'm glad that ADHD me bought this at some point and then forgot about it because it was kind of a happy surprise when I opened up the backpack when I was cleaning it out to switch all my stuff over and found this t-shirt. It is a cool t-shirt. I love it. I am not sure. I do not remember when or where it came from though. So, I don't know. If someone bought it for me as a gift, I'm going to feel horrible though, because like I feel like that's also a possibility. If someone got this for me as a gift and somehow I shoved it in a bag and forgot that it existed and I feel bad about that. If that's the case. So I got to beef up the handle on this PVC. So I use hockey tape to do that. It just gives the handle a little more width before I put paracord on it so that it feels a little bit more like a handle. But yeah, I wish I knew where this shirt came from. I don't know, but I absolutely love this shirt. You got a dragon reading a book. Like that's like freaking awesome. And it's an Eastern dragon, which I'm a big fan of. The Eastern dragons versus Western dragons. I love the Eastern dragons. You see, it's funny, like the Western cultures and the Eastern cultures both have dragons. But in the Western cultures, dragons are seen as like a negative. They hoard gold and steal princesses and all that stuff. They hoard gold that they won't spend and things like that. And they're something to be defeated. Whereas in Eastern cultures, they're more of like keepers of wisdom and tricksters. And they can be beneficial or they can be harmful. Depends on what they do and what force of nature they represent. It's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Eastern dragons. Squirrel brains. Yep, indeed. Oh yeah. Well, sideshow. If you ever needed an actual like natural Atame dagger for any of those rituals, I do sell those. I make daggers out of deer leg bones. I don't use any chemicals. I don't use any bleach. I don't use any adhesive. They're all natural materials, which is what you're supposed to have for an Atame. So yeah, I have bone Atame daggers in my shop as well that I sell for my Wicca people. And also some people just buy them because they look badass. All right, let's see. Do I have black paracord? No. I have brown. And I have this walnut. What? All right, so this is getting a brown handle just because I need to use this brown paracord. So, oh wait, no. I have green. I have olive drab. That'll do way better. Let's do that. I try to use the paracord cutoffs that I can't use for my bigger stuff on this stuff. Otherwise, it just sits and never gets used. So that's melted off. I don't make D&D dice. I don't do that, and I am a terrible baker. Those two things definitely not in my wheelhouse, but all the other things. I do. I have played D&D quite a bit. I wish I played it still. I just don't have the time anymore really to play. I have a lot of friends who still play it. I do have several friends who make dice. Matter of fact, my buddy Long Lay, he makes giant D20 dice. It's pretty cool. I think he's still got a shop where he makes them. He makes like you can bowl them. They're so big. And it's pretty cool. There we go. Try to get on here. Get on the back. There we go. Oh, the glass is off. There we go. Yeah, I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. When I was young, I played D&D. When I started playing D&D when I was about 12, I moved around a lot as a kid. And I lived in Southern California from the age of like 10 to 12. And I lived in the Asian district. And I think they call it Little Tokyo back then. I think they call it the Asian district now, but like near Torrance. And then when I was 12, we moved to Sacramento, and I had trouble making friends. And some D&D guys took me in. They could smell one of their own, and they were older kids. They kind of adopted me and taught me how to play, helped me make up a character sheet. We even did some LARP stuff, where they were pretty awesome nerds, and I loved them. They were great guys. A little weird, but so was I, so I felt at home. And I was only there for like a year. And I moved to Texas at 13. But what I found was, as a guy who moved around as much as I did, what I learned from that experience was that Dungeons and Dragons was my way in to make friends at new schools, because those guys were always around. And so when I got to Texas, that was what I did. I threw up a flag to show that I played D&D, and sure enough, by lunch on the second day, I was sitting with the D&D group, and they were good guys. That's on. There we go. All right. So I want these a little longer so I can wrap them around. Oh, there it is. Looking for my lighters, sitting right in front of me. There we go. Oh yeah, these scissors are awesome. I've bought a few pairs of these scissors. Hey, won't lay you down. Welcome back, man. I bought a few pairs of these scissors. They are sewing scissors, and I tell you what, the first few times I used these, I accidentally cut myself. These things are insanely sharp. I've got a few pairs of them. They are awesome. Never piss off a seamstress because, dude, you like, I feel like I could probably cut someone's finger off with these. Like, these are insanely sharp. I know, right? Like, I went through a few different, like, I used to buy these, you know, just the cheapy scissors, but they always get gummed up and they don't hold the blade well. I even have a scissor sharpener, but they just won't sharpen up. These, on the other hand, holy shit, these are badass. So what do you guys think? Is this a successful build? Should I move on to doing the Leonardo katana out of this PVC? It seems sturdy enough to hold a blade without warping too much. So yeah, this will go up on the shop today. But I'm going to call that a successful build. So now I can move on to trying to make the Leonardo katana out of this stuff, because that poor cosplayer with that group has been waiting on me for like almost 2 years now to finish making a set of katana for him. So I think that's gonna work. We'll have to see how it does at longer lengths, but I think I'm gonna call that a win. All right. Oh. And now I've got these. These are Prop Psi. It's the last. I made about 7 sets of blanks at the beginning of the year. I had a guy that I knew who he had an injection mold and was able to let me make these. All of them came out great except for this set. This set has a flaw on the tip there. A bubble got into the mold or something, so there's that issue. And they both just have a slight warp. Like, it's not horrible. Like, if you need them to be straight for camera, you can just kind of bend them out with your fingers and they look fine. They will eventually bend back though, so you know, I'm not going to sell these at full price. These are probably going to go up on auction later today. But they are perfectly con safe. Everything is rubber, even in plastic and foam. This is a faux leather. It's made of plastic and foam, but it looks like leather. It has been a minute since I've had to do these. The hard part with these is there's a plastic lining that I have to find the edge of. Oh, there we go. It's stuck. Well, that's not good. Let go. Let go. Come on. You know you want to let go. Let go. Stop holding on. All right. Now I gotta peel off. When I first started using these, this faux leather, I didn't know it had a protective layer of plastic on it. There we go. All right. Tell your crafty friend. Oh, I know, right? No. I totally get that now. I have friends that crochet and stuff like that, and they would always get like they were super protective of their scissors, and I never understood it, but now I get it because these aren't cheap, but they work great, and I don't want them being used for anything outside of the shop because I need them to be sharp. These are my junk pair. These are the pair I use for like paracord and things. And then I have what I call a clean pair that I only use for custom orders and projects where I need to make sure I have a perfectly clean cutting edge. That's right, this is a little tedious work here, because you got to make sure it stretches enough to stay tight against the curves and everything, but not so tight that you overstretch the is it nylon, I guess? What's electrical tape made out of? This stuff's basically the same stuff. All right. Is that all the way around? Nope. There we go. And there. Oh, no, you don't. Get on there. Don't you do that to me. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. There we go. Is that going to stick? It's the one thing with this stuff, this faux leather stuff, it doesn't self-adhere, so. So, you know, this, it depends, like with this, I honestly just kind of have to eyeball it on the way down. Getting these prongs is difficult. Mostly, you just want to make sure you're stretching it as you move. You want to start at the top for the prongs. I find that works better. It's easier to get the wrap over it. With these, I try to leave a little bit of the prong at the top because that's what his sai looked like in the movie. The only difference between this sai, I used the '89 movie as my guide, not the cartoon, because I think it looks cooler. And the only difference between mine is that this is more of the traditional sai shape. For the live action movie, they actually had to use the children's style of sai. They're aluminum, and the kids with the trainer sai that children use in karate is a much wider distance between the two prongs on the side, and they tend to go out and just come straight up. And they're blunted, they're far lighter. They're made of aluminum, not out of bronze or brass. Most sai these days, it seems like that they sell are made of aluminum. When I was coming up doing tournaments and stuff, when I did kata things, my sai were made out of bronze. I still have them, actually. And I keep them because, you can't get those kinds of sai anymore, and one of these days my son will get to have them. He's got a pair of those trainer sai, but I've always liked the traditional sai appearance better than that. And I if you look super close at Raph's sai in that movie, you can kind of tell that they're the children's aluminum type. All right, come on, stay on there. I glue the ends. Sideshow, I glue them. I've tried to use like a friction fit in the past, and it just doesn't hold. And you know, these are mostly for costume purposes, so I want to make sure that this isn't popping loose when someone is using them. There it is. But yeah, I just use a little CA cyanoacrylate, which is just a fancy way of saying super glue. I use the gel super glue kind because it's a little better. It's waterproof. It holds in place a little better. It tends to adhere better. And also, I'm less likely to get it all over the place. That liquid super glue, I have accidentally glued my fingers to so many things with that stuff. All right. Oh, I overlapped that. Oh, well, that's not so bad. That'll be fine. Because after this, I'm going to go over this with a heat gun to make it look weathered and to brown up the... it shrinks it up and it makes it look older. So... first, we got to do the handle. And it comes with finishing tape, but I don't want to use finishing tape on this because it's, you know, it just kind of ruins the effect. They're spray painted. It's a rubber injection mold. It gets 2 coats of primer, and then it gets 2 coats of a metallic aluminum spray paint. I have a different kind that I make that are for Electra. I use more of a chrome paint for those because her sai are shiny, but Raphael's sai tend to be more dull in their shininess. So I use that so they fit more with the aesthetic. They look metal. Oh shit! I did the wrong one. All right. Did I get the plastic? Okay, I guess the plastic is off. All right. They stopped putting the protective plastic on this. All right, cool. That makes me happy. That's going to be less difficult. Also, pro tip, if you're ever going to wrap a handle, make sure you wrap from the bottom to the top. Reason being is the overlap. That way the overlap is down sloping. So when you're holding it, if the overlap is facing towards the top, your hand's going to push down the wrap from the weight. So you always want to, when you're doing the handle part, you always want to start at the end, the bottom, and work your way to the top. And that's for anything, whether it's baseball bats, sai, anything you're putting a handle wrap on like this, where it's going to overlap. With a cord wrap, it doesn't really matter. But when you're doing an overlapping wrap, make sure you start at the bottom of the handle and work your way up. Shit, I forgot to grab. There we go. And I always try to keep an alcohol wipe nearby when I do this so that any excess glue doesn't stain up the faux leather. And then when I finish this up, I'll get my heat gun out and I'll run over this with my heat gun. It darkens it, makes it kind of shrink up a little bit, and just kind of gives it more of a weathered, leathery appearance. Oh, there it is. I was like, where did my other one go? Hey, what's up, Sheridan? Yeah, I remember you. What's going on? Welcome back. Well, yeah, once they're wrapped up, they look pretty good, and they're easy to flip like an actual sai. So yeah, they look good on camera. You know, if you look up close, you can obviously tell they're not real. But that's kind of what you want with props. You know, you want them on camera and from a distance, you want them to look real. But especially for stuff that's for conventions, I try to make it where if you're within, you know, a few inches of looking at it, you can tell that it's not real. But if you step a couple feet back, it looks real. That's really what I'm looking for. And camera's the big one. Everybody wants to look good on camera. Most of my stuff, if you saw it on camera, you would think it was real. I hope I have enough of these pleather wraps to finish this, though. There we go. Is that? Yeah. You got to make sure it's all the way up to the edge. There we go. Yeah, camera, that's what everybody cares about, especially the cosplayers, you know, that do conventions. They, you know, a lot of them do photo ops and stuff at the conventions, and so that's their main concern, is that the prop is photo ready and, you know, it looks good on camera. You know, it's funny, I've had situations where I've had the opposite happen with props, where like they look great in person. Like if you look at it with your own eyes, they look awesome. But for some reason on camera, they don't look right. So I always try to focus on making sure they're camera ready first. All right, you guys, let's pray that this is enough. So I've only got one wrap left, and hopefully this is enough to get this last prong. These are called sai, Sir Don. These are, this particular set is a replica prop of the Raphael sai from the original live action film. I never can remember the year of that movie. I can't remember if it's 80. For some reason, my brain, half the time, my brain thinks it's 1989. The other time, half the time, my brain thinks it was 1991. I can't remember when that movie came out. I want to say it was 89. I would have been about 12, maybe 13 when that movie came out. Ninja Turtles were big in my house with my brothers and I. My first introduction to Ninja Turtles was not the cartoon, though. I was a comic book reader as a kid, When I moved to Southern California as a kid, that was one of the things, like when I first started kind of doing D&D and stuff like that, I started reading comics, and they had this awesome comic book store near my home, in Torrance, and I remember the first time I saw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book, and it was before the cartoons and before all that stuff. They all wore red bands and stuff. It was mostly a black and white cartoon or comic book. Um, but I remember looking at it, and it had Raphael on the front with his two sai like pointed down, and he's like jumping through the air, and there's an air bubble over his head. It says, "We're gonna kick your butt." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" My little 12-year-old brain about melted down seeing that. I might have been 11. I don't remember. I think I was 11. I was 10 or 11 when I first saw the a Ninja Turtle comic book. And I'm like, "Mom, can I get this Ninja Turtle comic book?" And she didn't care. She's like, "It's a comic book, of course you can get it." So I got it. It got taken away from me later, though. Eventually, my mom read it, and it was not a kid's comic book. 1990. It's 1990. That's why. That's why it's not 89 or 91. It was 90. It was right in between. But yeah, so when I found out they were going to do a Ninja Turtle cartoon, I was super psyched because I loved the comics up until the point my mother confiscated them. But I loved the comics, and I was a little disappointed when I saw what they had done to my beloved Ninja Turtles. I mean, I'm not saying the cartoon was bad. My little brother loved it. My little brother was a huge fan of the cartoon, and the cartoon wasn't bad. It just wasn't. It wasn't the Eastman and Laird comic book that I had kind of fallen in love with at that point. And to be honest, I feel like those are two different Ninja Turtles. The cartoon Ninja Turtle and the comic book Ninja Turtles, the red band Ninja Turtles, where they all have red, is far more like a grown-up, kind of mature storyline compared to the comic books. But that's one of the things I really loved about that first live-action film, is that a lot of the stuff in that live-action film was actually taken from the Volume 4 graphic novel of the original Ninja Turtles comic book. The whole thing where, the Foot Clan attacks them at April's home, and the fighting with the shop and the fire and having to go to the farm and all that stuff. All of that came from the Volume 4. It was actually Christmas. They were having Christmas at April's place, and the Foot Clan showed up, and it wasn't Raphael that got beat up. It was Leonardo that got beat up by the Foot Clan, and that they had to take to the farm to heal him up. But that whole scene is basically even Casey Jones showing up during that scene, all that stuff, that all comes from Volume 4 of the original Ninja Turtle graphic novel series. Yeah, the comic books, as if you're an adult, the comic books are way more enjoyable. Volume 1 is kind of awesome. The crazy thing about Volume 1 is that it introduces the Shredder, right? But the first one was supposed to be a one and done, because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Imagine the first time that imagine Ninja Turtles didn't exist and someone came to you and said something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It sounds insane. So Eastman and Laird, they had it published, but they did not think it was going to go anywhere. And God damn it, I screwed up. Sorry, didn't mean to curse. I gotta glue this down first. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. It's gonna be fine. So I gotta do the cross wraps before I do the handle. Losing it over here. But I highly recommend the comic books. But in the very first graphic novel, they basically kill the Shredder at the end, and they end up resurrecting him later. In the comic books, the Foot Clan comes back. But after they take out the Foot Clan, they introduce the Krang and all that stuff. The Krang aren't bad guys, though. In the graphic novels, they're just aliens. They're interdimensional beings trying to get home. They got stuck on Earth. But they run TCRI, which is the company that created the mutagen that created the Ninja Turtles, and instead they're like brains that live in these android bodies. But you think they're evil, but then you realize that they're not. They're just aliens that got trapped on our planet. But the cartoon turned Krang into a bad guy as just a singular villain instead of it being like a race of aliens that were just trying to get home. Come on, you little bastard. Oh, don't you glue my finger. But yeah, I think they also these days have like the multicolor cartoon style comic books as well. But the red bands, those are the ones I recommend. It's a much cooler, it's a much more adult, and by adult I just mean like more violent kind of storyline. Also highly recommend The Last Ronin, which is amazing. It is one of the newer ones that Eastman and Laird have done. They kind of had a falling out, the two of them, for a while, and there was quite a bit where the two of them didn't work together. The Last Ronin, though, is cool. It's set in the future, where like basically all of the turtles except for one have been killed, and the last turtle is trying to avenge the death of his brothers. And we don't know right away which turtle it is. We don't know which ones are dead and which ones survived. We don't find out until later. I won't spoil that for you guys, but it's really awesome. I highly recommend checking it out if you like the Ninja Turtles. The Last Ronin is pretty sweet. I loved it. And I think they're planning to make a movie of The Last Ronin. I think an animated film, but I think they're planning to make that into a film in some way, shape, or form. Bebop and Rocksteady, yeah, that's the bad guys. They don't really play a role in the comic books. They were mostly a creation for the cartoon, Bebop and Rocksteady. You know, that was the other thing that bugged me, was that like in the sequel, Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, is that they had the two like mutant creatures that were the wolf and the turtle. And I'm like, why would you not do Bebop and Rocksteady? Like, why would you not do that? They did it in the newer ones, and I don't know, it didn't quite work there either. But I thought that was a huge missed opportunity in the second one. If you were going to make two mutants to work for the Shredder, why would you not make Bebop and Rocksteady? Why would you not make it be two characters that Ninja Turtle fans are already familiar with from the cartoons? All right, so let's see if I can get this last one together without ruining it. And then I'm going to go get my heat gun, and we're going to age these bad boys up. I think they're going to look sweet. All right, let's see, huh? But yeah, I feel like with the movies, like I said, that first one was awesome. And then I feel like every movie after that was just more and more of a cash grab, and the studio involvement just got worse and worse. Like the whole idea of putting Vanilla Ice in the sequel singing a ninja rap. I don't know. I like Vanilla Ice. He's pretty popular right now. Let's put him in there at the end. I'll have him bounce around on stage and sing a ninja rap at the end of the movie. That's going to be awesome. That's definitely not going to ruin the dramatic effect of the film at all. All right. Bebop. Oh, yeah, they were. They were brilliant. They were awesome. All right. So now we've got our Psy all wrapped up. Let me go get my heat gun. And we're going to distress and age these bad boys up so that they look good. Because they look too shiny right now. Be right back. I gotta clean my hands here. I got super glue all over. All right, let me get the heat going. And this is probably going to be my last project of the day. Then I gotta go prime. I've got a prop sword I gotta prime up. I got a couple orders I gotta pack up that they're gonna ship out tomorrow. All right. But if you got any questions, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I know, dude. We had the VHS tape of the original Ninja Turtles movie. We wore that tape out in our house, my brothers and I. We watched that movie so many times. It's probably somewhere at my mom's, to be honest with you. I imagine one of these days I'm going to be going through a drawer and I'll find it. I'm not sure how well that shows up on camera, but you can see here how it's darkened and brown. So that's going to go on the whole thing. So that it looks used and weathered. It also helps because this is pleather, because it's a plastic, it kind of melts it down just a bit, shrinks it up, makes sure it stays tight to the handle. And there we go. Down here. So you guys can see the contrast in how it looks compared to this. So it looks more like it's been used before, like it's weathered, like it's dirty from being held. Does Barry Manilow know I rate his wardrobe? Hey, Charlotte, welcome. Good to see you again. Yeah, that big like clamshell case probably. Does Barry Manilow know I rate his wardrobe? That's funny. I don't know. Does Barry Manilow wear t-shirts with dragons reading books? Barry Manilow wishes he was as cool as me. All right. Oh yeah, the Breakfast Club. That's funny. Yeah, man, it's been a minute since I've seen the Breakfast Club. So there we go. Raphael Sai are done. This particular set will go up for auction today because of the fact that these do have a warp in them, and the one of these two has a flaw in the tip because there was a bubble in the mold. So these are still going to sell. They're just going to be sold at auction instead of for full price because I just don't want them to just sit in the shop. They were worth getting finished. So I'm going to put these up on the shop today. Oh, what did I shit? Oh, there we go. All right. But I think that is everything for me today. Which honestly, I think I got done ahead of schedule. I allotted 3 hours to get all this done today. And I think I'm under 3 hours. Let's see. Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Doing all right. All right, you guys, let me clean up a little bit, and then I got to call it a morning. I've got other crap to do. I'm going to go home. I got to list all this stuff on the eBay shop this afternoon. If you're looking for my eBay shop, you can find the link in my link tree in my bio. You'll also see a link to warriorwoodandprops.com. Please don't use that link. I'm only using the website for custom orders right now because Shopify sucks. And I can't get my shop to work right since I got back from vacation in the summer. So yeah, just use the eBay shop, but you can contact me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can contact me on eBay, or you can use the contact me button on the website if you're interested in a custom order. Hey, thanks, Walt. I appreciate you coming back, man. I'll see you next time. You guys, by the way, next weekend, just so you guys know, I have a craft fair on Friday and Saturday. So I'm going to try to get most of my projects done during the week next week. I might do a staining live on like Thursday evening. Possibly, not sure. But I probably won't be doing Saturday staining, but I will still be doing Sunday finishing work. So I will see you guys on Sunday morning next weekend. But Saturday I've got the craft fair, so I won't be on. Hey, thanks, Sideshow. You have a good weekend too. Yeah, I would love to see you. Yeah, the Tame daggers, they're on there. If you just look up the bone knives, I've got a ton. Some are nicer than others. You know, usually the price depends on how long it is and how nice it came out. I have a pretty good range from fairly affordable to fairly expensive. They're on there. Then you go put this heat gun away. If you got any questions, now's the time to hit me with them. Oh yeah, one other thing. I will be running a sale soon. Let me put this up. The week of Thanksgiving, the Monday before Thanksgiving, I will be running a 15% off sale for November. Oh, the Purple Heart double-ended, yeah, that one was awesome. You want me to look at? You want to look at it again? You want me to grab it? But yeah, that double-ended like Vampire Hunter sword out of Purple Heart, I had a really nice time making that one. That one came out super pretty. Too many jokes to type for that one. All right, you guys. I'm going to clean up and head out. I'm going to go home, do some laundry, put stuff on the shop, watch a bad ninja movie. It's Ninja November, so make sure you watch your ninja movies. Oh, yeah. Purple Heart has kind of an incense smell when you work it, definitely. Purple Heart does. Padalk kind of does. I had to work with cedar yesterday, and I had forgotten, man, cedar. My whole shop smelled like cedar because cedar's got that really strong smell. I made some shoe inserts for that craft fair. Cedar shoe inserts. Hey, take it easy, Sideshow. Take it easy, new best friend. Oh, I know. Yeah, shipping to Ireland, to the UK, it's gotten worse. It used to be somewhat affordable. But yeah, the shipping, and unfortunately, like when it comes to international orders, especially on eBay, I have no control over what the shipping is. They kind of run that for you. So I just ship to their hub and then they ship. Yeah, be my guest. I'm happy to have you, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And who knows? Maybe one of these days we'll figure out a way to get something over to you. Oh, man, my glasses are dirty. All right, weirdos, I'm out of here. Thank you for hanging out with me as always. I will be back next weekend for Sunday finishing work. I will not be doing Saturday staining. I may do a staining live sometime during the week because I don't have the time before ahead of the holidays to take a full weekend away from this. So I will be in the shop doing some stuff during the week, probably after I get done at work. All right. See you later, man. But I will be on Sunday next week. All right, you crazy people. I'm out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me. As always, link to the shop is in my bio link tree. I'm out.